Take him to Detroit.
No! No, not Detroit! No!
What day is it? Monday? Oh, Monday!
Monday, Monday, so good to me.
Hey, it's Monday.
Medical.
Monday.
Changes could be coming to Michigan's marijuana law. A new set of bills now being heard in Lansing.
Marijuana is not a drug.
The bills will have major implications to small medical growers known as caregivers.
That's some heavy shit, man.
Small pot farmers in California say the state is not standing by its promise to protect.
Big companies were supposed to be limited, but some have stacked hundreds of licenses.
Stop hitting me so hard.
Created a cartel, essentially.
You have an industry allowing for businesses to operate like cartels.
But it's a Monday.
Harm has been done by the fact that we didn't legalize it back then.
Well, I don't know if there's any harm that's been done.
There was people getting arrested, there were people getting thrown in jail. I mean, that counts, doesn't it?
What kind of joint is this, man?
Smoking marijuana all in public. You would think that shit was legal. We the Pistons in the 8, 9, and 9. Oh, bad boy.
Just another medical.
And welcome Medical Mondays, y'all. This is your host with the most, THC, in his motherfucking bloodstream, BERG. Of course, we got our returning panelists with us, Adam L. Brook.
Hey, now.
And we got another old-time panelist with us, Jamie Lowell, joining us. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Before we get into anything, I want to give a huge shout out to all of our awesome sponsors. See if I can get this working. Still on a laptop, everybody, so please be patient. Here we go. Huge shout out to Native Made 313, Michigan Turf Farms, Nugget Extracts, Tiki Madman, SOB Labs, and Tree Street Packaging. Boom.
Yeah.
Much love to everybody in here already. So far, we got Jared, Chill, Blue Brat, Native Made, James Holland, and Detroit Ripper Rat. Oh, I miss Robert Root as well. I'm sure there's more people in here just not talking, but appreciate y'all joining us. Now that we talked about our sponsors, I want to remind everybody next week, this upcoming weekend, September 22nd, people, yeah, show up, show out. It's the Fur Baby Get Back, brought to you by JSH Enterprises and Nugget Extracts. It's benefiting the Home Forever Rescue. Bring in supplies on the list that I'll show you in a second. Everybody that enters gets a raffle ticket to win stuff donated by all the awesome vendors attending. Of course, Native Made's going to be in the building, Nugget Abduction, Fuck Off Extracts, Mr. Roll Up, John Doe, and the list goes on and on. There's going to be food by Chi-Town on the Hibachi Grill, as well as Fun Food Express will be outside. I'm going to be there. Adam said he's going to be there, so we're going to hold him to it. So here is the donation list. Cash, of course. Flea medication, gallon disinfectant cleaner for urine, pee pads, large breed, paper towel, large milk bones and peanut butter bones. And yeah, come through, bring some stuff, bring cash and some donations. Show out for these dogs in need. And also, always wanna, damn, I don't got the graphic, but I just want to remind everybody, go out and get your medical marijuana card or renew it. One of the awesome people you can hit up is Detroit Certification Center. You can find them on social media at Detroit Cert Center, or go to their website. It's DetroitCertCenter.com, or give them a call or text. And I'm going to have to get that number again. But Google Agachi people. But there's plenty of other people out there as well. You got Michael Dewey up north. You got Pure West out west. You got Vehicle City, GC3 up in the Flint area. And the list goes on and on, y'all. Michigan Weedsters.
So I saw all those people. Everybody you just mentioned, I saw them in Lansing at the rally at the Capitol.
Oh, shit. Yeah, so hit up some people. Get that card. We need to show these politicians that we're still here, y'all. All right. Now that we got all that out of the way, what's everybody smoking on? I'm lighting up some Original Z by Michigan Turf Farms.
I got Wedding Pie by Freshy Fine.
Oh,
it's really good.
Man, I haven't had no wedding pie from SOB Labs in a minute. That's where I originally got it from. Stupid buyer. No, oh no, Fun Food Express. But Chi-Town will be there. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Chi-Town always comes there, man. Did you say what you were dabbing on?
No, it's some rosin from an unmentionable.
Oh, all right. Fuck that unmentionable. Tastes like shit, don't it?
No, actually, it ain't too bad, but it was free, so you know.
But it ain't no Michigan Turf Farm.
No, it ain't. It ain't. If it was, I'd be happy. I finally smoked up all my Michigan Turf Farms.
Oh man,
I had that slushy last week, and that was the end of them. But I'll be getting more, I'm sure. Good flavors to be had.
Oh, Nada made smoking on a blunt she got from Dubs. She said it's fire. She don't know what it is though.
That's somewhere I'm smoking on. Big jar that I was given.
Some fire block party rosin for me. Oh shit. I got some block party flour.
I ain't even never heard of it.
Block party?
Yeah.
So fruity.
Come on, bro. I'm out in the suburbs.
Well, Jamie, man, like, what's been up with you? Long time no see. I think the last time I seen you in person was at John Sinclair's memorial.
One of the few last things I've done, but just been in Ann Arbor, the new Meds Cafe.
Yeah, how's that going?
It's picking up, man. It's turning the corner. The students came back. We've been working really hard there all summer, kind of building, and things are coming together. The games are pretty cool. I'm looking forward to the USC.
Do you have a notable uptake on those days?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the early big game against Texas had a lot of Texas fans coming in.
Right.
And Arkansas State, not so much. Not a huge traveling fan base. The alumnus came back into town and grouped up and visited the campus and had some fun and stuff. And a lot of those people came in. But wasn't anything like the Texas game. So I'm assuming USC with a big traveling fan base, decent team this year. People have a good chance to beat Michigan, so a lot of them want to come out and see it in the big house. But yeah, for sure, there's a huge uptick with all those people in town.
And you can
Yeah,
you? I'm sorry. Go on.
No, I was just gonna say I just watched a documentary about the coach. They got it's on Netflix. But it's about the guy who stole the fucking plays, like the hand signs and shit.
Harbaugh.
It was actually
Connor Stallion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw some of that too. It was interesting.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, the go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, I liked how they gave both sides. Usually documentaries just only fucking show one side. It's a one-sided documentary, but I think they did it pretty well. So what were you gonna say, Jamie?
Just that I know those events that you brought up and went over for a while at the beginning of the show are really cool. I like generally people participating in it, the causes that it helps, and it'll go on somewhat regularly. That same day in Ann Arbor is Entheofest, the fourth
right.
Entheofest. So I will be hitting that. That's pretty close.
Did you see the articles about that were put out, and the headlines that read, U of M? Anyways, the headlines implied, and the articles actually said that the university was putting on the event, which I always find that
weird.
Pretty funny because it then gets picked up more places around the country because of the shocking type headlines that they use.
That is interesting. I mean, that's same as Hash Bash. The student group had to put it in the request for the permit, which was SAPS, which is the Students Association for Psychedelic Studies. Yeah. Working with Jim Salam, usually with Julie Barron, but she's not doing it this year. She'll be back on next year, I believe. But Jim and committee is doing it with that student group, and should be pretty cool. A lot of good speakers, some good music. So, but I'll be hitting that. It'll be a rare event that I've been able to hit this summer. Missed the Harvest Rally. I would have been there. I kicked it off last year. I would have been up north for opening of Gaylord and for Canapalooza and some other stuff. Bridgewalk. Just not the year. There's another Big Cloud event that I missed. Sounded like it was a lot of fun. There's one coming up this weekend that I'm going to miss, but been hanging in Ann Arbor, and
but we know
it's been really cool. Yeah, right where the Monroe Street Fair takes place, where Green Planet was for 10 years, next to Casa Dominic's, across the street from the business school and the law school.
If you can't find it, you don't belong
there. I think we're gonna have an uptick on Hash Bash Day.
You think?
We're predicting it right now.
Arts people right to your store. They follow.
Art fair. There was people around too. That was good in the middle of a dead summer. That was cool.
Cool. Yeah, there's a lot of dispensaries in Ann Arbor, but not that many with access to the campus like you guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's like 3.
Right.
Including us, and one's not open right now, and the other just took the place of a dispensary that decided not to do it there anymore. And I don't know how well they're doing, but it's that if you've seen these billboards and everything with this guy, I can't even think of his name right now, but he like sticks his face on everything.
Yeah. I know who you're talking.
Wish I could think of his name right now.
Jeff Saba.
Something like that. Yeah, that sounds. So the name of the store is Leaf and Bud, which I thought like, okay, that's fair enough. That's what it's about. Like promote that. Somebody who nobody knows just sticks their face on stuff. That's not great branding or promotion.
That's actually marketing, a particular type of marketing that actually works very, very well for the one guy that's willing to do it.
I'm not sure if it's working for this particular dude.
Well,
maybe.
Right. What it does is it creates in 5 or 10 years a brand that it's like Call Sam, you know. That's a package that those people buy. You see that ad campaign all over the country with different lawyers' names on it.
Sure, I see that as the idea, you know, as the thing. Whether or not that actually will pan out like that, and people will
you
give a
got to
shit
be able to
about
back it up too. I mean, you can't sell garbage and expect to be in business. I don't understand what the industry hasn't figured out yet. That, you know, you guys are losing money every day on what weed's selling for, and in the black market with the high end stuff, the price is just going up. The rarer it is, the better it's grown, but it's not remediated 3-month-old pot.
Yeah.
You know, and I understand the industry. I understand why. I get it. But you have to understand what you're looking at. And if you're not spend all that money on billboards and then have a bunch of stores and not have quality
the guy does. He's got planes flying banners around and just really extensive promotional stuff. We just kind of like do what you said, just kind of, you know, be out there, let people know we're there. We do a lot of direct engagement. I've been standing out in front of the store myself almost all summer, just letting people know we're there and asking them if they want to come in and get some cannabis and stuff. And ultimately, once you're in, you realize we have some quality product at fair prices, and that's ultimately the key for getting somebody to want to come back.
Right. So the past couple of weeks we've been talking. Well, there's been articles that we talked about now that Ohio is going recreational. Do you think it's going to affect Michigan dispensaries?
Yeah.
Well, not right away.
There was a news article about that.
I know. I saw it.
You saw it?
It actually spiked.
Spiked at Michigan.
Yeah.
Like all the people who didn't have medical, you know, medical cards actually went to the dispo, and they're like, "Oh man, that shit's trash. We need to go back to Michigan."
Ohio did 60 million. Michigan did whatever it did, which made it the largest in the country.
A couple 3 billion or something like that.
Right, but it's the largest in the country. And I read an article about which cities per capita smoked what amount of weed, and Michigan wasn't as high as you think, or cities in Michigan. But we consume a lot of weed through our metric system in Michigan. And, you know, where that weed's going, I ain't saying. But it's being run through the registers in Michigan, is all I can tell you.
There's still people
growing,
from Ohio
growing every day.
coming in and telling us about how shitty their program is. They don't have an 8, they have a 2.83 gram unit. That's really expensive and not very good. And so when it came out, and it was like in every initial program so far around the country, it sucked. You have these.
Yeah.
You think somebody might learn from something or from somebody, but you have these bureaucrats that don't know anything about cannabis, and they're trying to put a new program together to get it up and running and stuff, and it just takes a long time. And then you started off with some kind of a bizarre approach in the first place in Ohio.
I think that's because we will eventually find out that there's a lot of corruption. And, you know, the only reason that these states limit some of their numbers is so that their buddies can get in, or they can get in. And a lot of these people are not weed people, they're investment type people.
Yeah.
And you can't do this from an investment standpoint. You have to make it, and then you have to have quality product and know your market. You should be fine.
That's said it even on here before. We owe Ohio a debt of gratitude because they had the legalization on the ballot with this oligarchy kind of a model as the basis. And there were some arguments. Hey, we're not going to get a chance to legalize. Yeah, this isn't the best, but at least we can start with this, blah, 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 that kind of shit. But they said, no, they wanted legalization, but they said no to this model. That would have empowered those fuckers. They tried it here a little bit, but that would have really empowered them, I'd like to think we still would have beat them, but who knows?
Chase Sorter in the comments said that Ohio dispo weed sucks and their
Parking
parking
lot.
lots are empty.
That's funny.
Well, Colorado started off with huge taxes all over there was a tax between the wholesale and the retail purchase. It was like 35%, and nobody used those stores either,
But-
because they had to figure it out.
Were people complaining about the quality of the product back in those days? Because I don't remember them complaining about what was going on in California when it went legal or rec or whatever you want to call it. Back in the medical.
Colorado and California both have been at it for a long time before that
Right.
point, and there was something there
And they knew what
to
they were
work with.
dealing. The people that were involved at that point knew what they were dealing with. Where Michigan, these people have no idea. They're just making something up based on someone's interests. I mean, we know a lot of bills that are only in front of the legislature because of some interest from a very small group of people.
Well, that's how the anti-caregiver bills
Right.
a couple sessions ago made it there with MCMA. I don't know if you guys remember that or not.
Yeah.
There's like this boycott and stuff.
What are you talking? What? MCA? What?
But yeah, we're still moving the ball forward everywhere. So
Didn't they like fucking like disintegrated? Like they no
crumbled.
longer exist, right? I mean, who knows what they're doing in the background, but as a whole, Steve Linder like ducked out and all that shit.
As a whole,
As a
Steve
whole.
Linder.
Mm.
Yeah.
You like
That's
that?
right.
That would make a great billboard.
Those guys are so cocky that like they just thought like, oh yeah, we're just gonna do this.
No,
And
yeah, they were
they just
announcing
were
that shit.
somewhat open about it. It was really fucked up.
Yeah.
But the reality is that
But that was in like the article where like it really fucking pissed me off was like it was a cannabis business magazine or some shit. It was like an interview with Steve Linder where he was saying all that
Oh yeah,
shit.
yeah.
I'm like,
And it's seriously, people took pictures off of the website of the grows, and I believe they were real.
oh, who knows? Yeah, you talking about the fucking bugs and everything crawling all
The webs
over.
and the bugs and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. That shit was hilarious, man. And I forget wherever we got that fucking award from.
Right.
Here on the award-winning podcast, Medical Mondays. Their site had the same fucking video, so who knows? It might just be some stock video footage.
But they used the stock video.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't.
And they didn't watch it all the way through because it's like fucking 3 to 4 seconds into the video panning across that it's like you see the bugs just crawling all over the fucking weed.
Just
Stupid
exposes how
motherfucker.
ignorant they are.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that cute? There's no bugs crawling.
Those guys, those places, even Pleasantries came on the show and
tried to
step down from MCMA, but still maintain their position on caregivers. And I don't know if there's been a few of them have had some kind of a public statement about how they realized that wasn't the right direction to go in and blah blah blah. I think Flourish was one of them and stuff. For whatever that's worth, but many of those are still operating, never unapologetically. Just like still believing that, probably maybe not working on it anymore, but.
Yeah, that video was fucking hilarious, man. And then there was that photo that Roach found from Common Citizen, where they were like trying to highlight their grows and everything. And they had this one plant that it was just all fucking bud rot. It was like, why are you even showing that? Like they're so ignorant. Like, oh yeah, just post pictures and video.
They're showing the powdery mildew off as if it's a bunch of trichomes on there. So.
Yeah. Shit's crazy, man. So, like, we talked about it beforehand, but Nixon admitted cannabis isn't dangerous in newly discovered tape. Did you guys,
say that again?
Did you guys hear the tape?
Say the headline again.
Nixon admitted cannabis isn't dangerous in newly discovered tape.
Okay. So, but that just helps to confirm what was already known by the tape.
Oh yeah,
so
but then they didn't release the study that they were referring to. That was because of a study that was done.
The Warren Commission or whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And
they equated cannabis to aspirin.
Right. And the judge said it was the safest substance known to humankind. I mean, that was a big time in America. That's where the war on drugs started. And these guys flipped the script.
Yeah, Nixon did it for social control, not for any kind of a scientific reason.
Right.
And it's remained there since then. And it's become all fucked up with the.
I just think it's funny because Ehrlichman outed him already and talked about this years ago. And they still were trying to hide this from the American people. I mean, come on. How is this just being, this tape just being found? I just think it's ridiculous. The whole thing was ridiculous. And it just shows what a bigot Nixon was.
Do you guys want to? I mean, I don't even think it's the entire tape.
No.
But it's like 43 seconds.
What?
I want to contact Trump statement of marijuana. Can I get that out of this son of a bitching domestic council? Sure. I mean, one on marijuana that just tears the ass off of them. I see another thing in the news summary this morning, but it's a funny thing. Every one of the bastards that are out for legalizing marijuana is Jewish. What the Christ is the matter with the Jews, Bob? What is the matter with them? I suppose because most of them are psychiatrists. They're submitting all the great psychiatrists are Jewish. By God, we are going to get the marijuana thing. And I want to get it right, swear in the puss. I want to find a way to put more on that, or somebody else would do that. Yep. I want to get it. I mean, it's legalizing all that sort of thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of hard, but you can find it. It was
what in the Christ he said about
the Jews. Well, let me tell you about your boy Christ.
Oh, no.
Yeah, which is funny because Ehrlichman said that it was about blacks and hippies, and he quoted Nixon on that. So we've already known this about
all the psychiatrists,
right?
They're all Jewish.
Everybody. Yeah. Remember, we control the world. But I'm kind of pissed because I've never got a call from the home office and ain't nobody ever sent me a check. So if we control something, I want my peace. Right. I don't know. It's just sad that the war on drugs did what it did to so many people over so many years. And people don't realize what that is and what that was and how it destroyed lives and families and all kinds of
it's still destroying people's lives.
Oh, yeah, I read an article about the fact that Biden hasn't actually freed anybody from federal prison on marijuana.
Yeah, nobody.
Marijuana charges.
Maybe you got like a little thing in the mail. Well,
and it's ridiculous that they even came out and said they were going to do things they haven't done. It's not like they didn't tell us what they were going to do. Do what you said you were going to do. At least that.
Right.
No? But it just proves that these people are not going to deliver on these things. They're empty promises to get votes.
Yeah.
And it's still better than it was, so they've lost. Sorry. You know, and you'll be gone and we'll still be here. I mean, if I went to Nixon's grave, I'd smoke a joint. Standing right there.
So I was out in front of the store in Ann Arbor. This pretty old guy was walking by, and you know, I just engaged with him a little bit, and he's like, "I don't do drugs," and I said something like, "Well, I get it, but cannabis doesn't belong on the traditional list, you know." And he goes, "You know what? You're right. I know that Nixon put that shit on the list, you know, unscientifically and all that kind of stuff." So it was interesting little ensuing conversation there. But I don't know if this was before these tapes were out or whatever. It was known that he did that before these tapes came out.
Well,
He's just really,
that's the thing, is a lot of things that were known and we've never heard the tapes. Well, why? If he recorded so much, there should be a library of tapes somewhere. I thought everything that the president did got saved like that. You know? Right.
Do you?
No. Do I believe they record everything? Yes. I believe he's probably mic'd up in such a way that they record everything that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah. And I don't even want to get into it right now.
Right. But at least on the weed thing, do what you said you were going to do. And there's still people in prison for pot. Maybe a lot of pot. I'm not saying that, you know, it's simple possession.
Sure.
We're talking pot, period.
There's the discussions, the lawsuits, they come from a few different angles on cannabis. There's some corporations saying, you know, they shouldn't be, you know, have you know, different standards in each state and all that kind of stuff. And there's the scheduling, you know, rescheduling the 3 or taking it off the list. And there's some fights over that, or there will be as it gets closer and all that kind of stuff. But here's what we're just talking about has a big twist on this that makes this unnecessarily difficult. It's admitted that there isn't the science behind all of the horrible things that have been discussed about cannabis over the years. There isn't the consequences resulting from when cannabis became a lot more accessible to everybody.
Right.
Yet they're making, but they're making people go in and prove that it's not harmful, that it does these things, and all this kind of shit. Where we should be saying, no, you prove that it actually is so bad that it requires all this prohibition and restriction. That's where the argument should be. But yet, I mean, and it's possible, fortunately, with cannabis to demonstrate a lot of positive stuff and to refute a lot of the ridiculousness that's been said about it. So it can be done. But that's not really what should be discussing. The onus should be on those making the claim that it's bad to demonstrate why it's bad.
Well, they know they can't, so. It's the government. That's my issue.
Yeah.
You know, you already got plenty of states that have come on board. People's minds are changing all over. And even the states where it's not legal, if you poll the people, they think it should be. It's their government that's keeping it illegal or regulated in one form or another. Because with that regulation, there still comes penalties, but they're now civil. They're not felonies.
Well, it helps expose how the money's being made and in which way and ultimately by who and all that kind of stuff are the discussions about the policy changes, not about what's the best policy.
No. And I think when you look back at the stuff like the Nixon stuff and you see why and how it was, how we have what we have and how it was created and whatnot, war on drugs, which was very different than what had happened in the previous eras. 1900s, 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, weed was treated very differently than it was in the Nixon era. And then all of a sudden they came out with legislation that allowed them to go after drugs the way they did, and it became an industry.
As Charmy and others always say, it was a failed public policy, but a successful social strategy control. Social control strategy.
Like Nixon said. I mean, come on.
Yeah, the hippies and the black people or whoever else was
Black
on
and
his
brown.
little list.
I mean, they got the people that were there said this is what they were thinking, so, and why they were doing it. I mean, to me, that this is news, but come on, if
it confirms stuff that was known, but it's really interesting what a dick he was.
If you're still questioning it though, based on those reasons, or if you're still for it based on those reasons, come on, what kind of moron are you? That's why I think it's funny when they bring this stuff out. It's so obvious what was going on, and if people don't realize that, they're just out of touch, I think. At least in my time, But yeah, I was pretty surprised that they had a recording that we hadn't heard before, though. Actually coming out of Nixon's mouth.
With all the requests for, to get those when they were able to become public too. That would have been, that's one that should never have been, that's not one that's so sensational, I guess, that.
But just, he put the recorders in, and then he said this shit that now you're caught saying it. You knew they were recording everything. And you're willing to
I think he felt pretty righteous about his positions on things, though. Thinking that he'd ultimately be proven correct, maybe. He had kind of an ego, I think.
Yeah, no, I think so too.
So, where are you at, KK? Be on there, man. Did you hear about the severe psychosis in young men in Ireland?
Ireland.
From yeah, it was like you've heard of HHC. It's like hexa hydrocannabinol.
Yeah, there's like OHC and HHC and
Well, that's legal, and they're selling it
because it came from hemp.
Gas stations. Yeah. Well, they're saying that all kinds of kids are specifically like getting all fucked up in the head when it comes to that shit.
Oh. All right.
So new cannabis substitute is causing severe psychosis in young men.
Severe psychosis.
Months of intensive inpatient treatment. So, I don't know.
Sounds a little extreme.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that they
severe psychosis and months of treatment.
But, like,
can you just take care of most severe psychosis with just months of treatment? First of all,
right. But what about that chick in California that got off? She got off a murder because of cannabis psychosis. She stabbed her boyfriend like 32 times or some shit.
Sounds like a good lawyer. Sounds like an expensive lawyer.
Yeah, but she got off because of weed, which is insane to me.
Well, people have said they were, gotten off because they were drunk or under some other, state of mind because of some other condition or substance or something. And
smoking on some puro loco papaya times moon.
But feeding into the misnomer that cannabis is this dangerous thing or whatever was what the lawyer was able to do.
Yeah, because it's still a Schedule I narcotic, man, legally. Pretty
Still,
shitty.
still far from normalizing it, but we've, still come a long way, I guess.
Yeah. So cannabis dispensary workers vote to unionize. Workers at Apothecarium Cannabis Dispensary in Burtonsville and Sweet Pot Cannabis Dispensary in Onley announced Monday they have voted to unionize with United Food and Commercial Workers, the UFCW Local 400 Union.
I've talked to those guys before.
Yeah.
So what was the name of the place in Burton? Not Apothecary, or something slightly different than that.
Apothecarium.
Oh, okay. There is Apothecary. There's one in Ann Arbor, and I think one in Sheboygan, maybe somewhere else too.
Apothecarium voted 7-0 in favor of unionizing, and it was a 9-1 to unionize at Sweet Spot. Sweet Spot.
And what city is that one in?
It's in Onley.
I know this is petty, but I always thought apothecary was one of those words you could not use. That was
You can't use
restricted to pharmacies.
that pharmacy, dispensary. Those are all words that they have to be FDA approved drugs being sold there in Michigan.
Right, but they do it anyways.
Well, there's a slight twist on the word for both of those.
I realize that, but I don't. I was surprised that the state allowed that.
Oh, on business license or something.
Yeah,
like that.
because of the sounding of the word, not necessarily because of.
Well, it was the McQueen case that came out of that.
Right.
That was the name of their place. The civil suit.
I'm not necessarily against it. I just thought it was the law. So you couldn't open up a pharmacy and sell weed, even if it was FARM, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was a word that was obviously spelled correctly, but that's because when the law was written. But that they wouldn't allow you, and I'm surprised. I like the name. I like the way they do it. Of course, again, you got to be able to back up your product with me, or back up your name with a product.
The one in Burton's different than of the chain that started in Ann Arbor.
Right.
But that happened in there was a Loom in Monroe voted for. I think it could have been a cultivation place or a store. I don't really remember. I forgot what happened after that. Really, maybe after this and. Talk about this and to reflect on what was going on with that whole thing or what has become of that thing. It would be good to get Stacy on here again.
Yeah, she was going. I saw she was going to speak on it somewhere. She would be good to have. But I'm not surprised that some of that would be interesting or of interest to some people working in some of these companies. I think it's more of an individualized company thing than an industry thing. I'd hate to see the mom and pop shop hit by the unions, you know?
Right. I mean, it kind of sounded like there was only a few. It was disposed of.
Right, but it's more, as long as it's not a shakedown.
It depends on how it's done. It's not necessarily just necessarily horrible for them. It depends on what the agreement is and
why it was
a certain number of employees involved before they're really talking about it too, 50 or something like that.
But why would the individuals want to unionize? What's causing them to want to unionize? I don't think that's the natural way. I think that once things aren't going the way they should as employees, you decide that unionizing might help if we all get together and say, hey, here's our opinion. So as long as they stick to the big guys, I can't imagine that they wouldn't be coming. But you're right. It depends how it's set up and how it's done.
So I know
that particular group's done it in other states and stuff too for a while. Sorry, Bird.
No, it's cool. Again, I know how Adam hates law enforcement being involved in cannabis industry as far as like producing and everything. I mean, I likewise, I feel the same way. But I was wondering how you feel about a DEA consultant being involved in cannabis.
How I feel? Oh,
Yeah.
I would go nuts about that. I mean, I had a hard time when Steve Hager battled the former DEA agent. Him and the DEA agent went on the road, and they kind of had this show with a back and forth type thing.
Well,
even
I mean,
what specifically would be the?
Well, I mean, this is what she was consulting as. She actually had grown cannabis for the DEA for research purposes.
Right.
So, I mean, that's what it comes down to. But she did it hand in hand with the DEA, which that's why I was asking you. I don't know, how do you feel about that?
I didn't understand exactly what the position was, but I get it now.
Because now she's in New Jersey and started her own business. And
if you say you come from the traditional market, the black market, whatever you want to call it, from these old days when it was illegal, right? And you want to say you come from that,
Lindsay Shaw is her name.
Then you would never work with somebody like that.
And Brighter Side Farms.
And so, like, the point of growing the cannabis with DEA was for DEA to learn more about it so they could bust people.
Yeah, I mean, that's
destroy lives. How many people did she put in? How many lives did she destroy?
But she's just doing craft cannabis.
Whatever. Does she grow
craft DEA?
Does she grow good weed? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
All right,
she's in Jersey. I haven't heard any fire coming out of Jersey.
Right. Thank you. I mean,
I'm just being honest. I have no idea, but
from what I understand, DEA weed wasn't all that good.
I've never had DEA weed.
I remember at the beginning of medical for a while, going to many, local government meetings and stuff to hear what they were saying or to participate in it or something like that. There was a lingering DEA agent. I think his name was Lee Corso, maybe something like that. And he had the same spiel everywhere. THC is the thing, the main ingredient or that does this to people. And,
right.
That's why we get this image of treating it kind of like alcohol, where you have so much of it, you're going to get really fucked up or whatever. I mean, we know that doesn't kind of work like that, but it's one of the reasons why equating it to alcohol is why we perpetuate that high number. Is like, oh man, it's so much more. They use the word potent, so much more potent because it has all that big THC number in there. We perpetuate a lot of shit still with that mindset, and it's still a lot of people think like that about it.
Yeah. Well.
But it didn't come from another thing. It didn't really come from science. It came from like the DEA's propaganda and stuff.
Yeah, some motherfuckers that smoked some weed back in the day and then tried to smoke some fire, and they're like, "Oh,
they never smoked a weed." Come on,
they never smoked weed, bro. You'd be surprised, man.
No, I'm sure there's a lot of DEA people that smoke weed. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. But that just shows you what kind of people they are.
I don't know.
I hate hypocrisy. That's why I'm involved.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And I can see having a public.
Yeah, I've said it in the past though. I'd rather deal with a weed smoking law enforcement officer than a motherfucking drunk or
Right.
some shit like that. You know.
You know, over the years, we've had police officers come in as patients sometimes, just as people making a purchase. But I've seen the officers that do the parking infractions and stuff like that walk around, and I've asked them, or what their policy is on that, and they actually sign an agreement to not even participate in medical cannabis.
Right.
To take that job.
Yep. Same with a lot of police departments. Same, they're no different. Which, the state just made it legal for state employees.
I know, that's what I was gonna say. Fucking like,
used to
well,
be-
how does it go for Michigan State Police stuff?
Well, that I would think would be something that they have to sign their rights off, which is what we're just talking about. And they have to agree that they will live under these conditions, work under these conditions. And come on, they're cops. They're people that want to be cops. Now, they might get into it with all good intentions, but how many of them end up writing their partner's name and badge number into a report, claiming they broke the law or policy?
I remember every badge number that fucking harassed me back in the
Right.
day.
Right. Well, I mean, somebody stood there.
You think I'm playing, man?
No, man, but the way you said that was kind of eerie. Just hope that there's no
You don't forget,
correlation between one by one these numbers. Also,
dude. I
I've seen
saw
some issues.
a guy who was the detective on my case who raided my house as a border patrol agent at the Metro Airport. And he actually knew I was coming in on the flight. He saw my name on the list and he looked for me in the arrival area. And he walked up to me as I was being pushed in a wheelchair and said, "Oh, you're famous." And I looked up and there was his name. And I said to the woman pushing my chair, "Get me the fuck out of here." We just ran through. They stamped our passport. We were out. But,
Was it because was he working for the federal government then? Like he was part of like a multi-jurisdictional thing? Or?
No. He worked for the Madison Heights Police Department. He was a detective.
Okay.
And he then moved on, which, whatever. There's a few cases in court that I was able to find with his name on it, but whatever. Yeah, he was a local guy, but I just, when you ruin people's lives, I can't see working with you. Just like I wouldn't work with the company that makes Paraquat. I wouldn't do it.
What about a company that went out of their way to stop a lot of smaller business participation in cannabis in many cities and towns across the country, across the state? I mean,
I'll eat at McDonald's, but I wouldn't buy from True Leaf when I'm in Florida. I mean, that's just me. If you attain a certain level, maybe I'll deal with you if your product's uniform all across the country. But
I wasn't referring. I don't particularly care for them and either, but that's not who I was referring to, really. But
no, I mean, I'm impressed by what they got going on. If you can maintain that, I was raised in business. I'm impressed by that. But at the same time, I know better. I wouldn't want to be associated with that.
Well, that's why, if you have particular, philosophy and perspective about all of this and coming into the arena of the emerging, commercial side, those lacking historical and cultural perspective and not understanding what the plant's all about, show up. They make bad decisions because of it. And it takes them
years
to figure it out. But then they also, maybe in different ways end up kind of hurting the traditional and established kind of parts of the culture that existed before it, or support the hurting of it in order to benefit themselves in the new commercial market.
Well, yeah, I don't believe so. Anybody that says we come from the caregiver market. We come from the traditional market. We come from a whatever legacy, black. I don't care what term you use. Yeah, you may come from that, but that ain't who you are now. And that's why we're calling you out about it. If we're calling you out, it's
I was telling we were talking about the pleasantries before. I was telling somebody about that whole thing and Randy Buckman and stuff like that, and they said, well, they must not have been a caregiver before that or whatever. And I said, that's one of their whole whole spiel.
It came out like, from the get, he was a so-called caregiver, but then when it came out, it's like they never grew themselves. They always paid people to grow for them. So
right.
Yeah, Randy,
you can have your name on it and you can pay the bills. That doesn't make you a grower.
No.
I mean, whatever. It is what it is. And you know what? They're selling a lot more weed than I thought was being sold. So more power to them. But I still understand that the black market is still bigger than them. Whoever them is, wherever you point at it. Even in California, they admit that the black market is still much bigger than they are. So, and I think that's a quality issue, plain and simple. And I think once the industry figures it out, there will be mom and pop shops that are high end, high priced, good quality. And then there will be everybody else. So, and if you can offer good quality at a good price, you'll go even further. So.
I'm kind of concerned about some of the approaches of the department when it comes to that. That's a different discussion.
Farms.
Yeah, they're totally whack, if you ask me. I mean, very governmental. The CRA.
Oh yeah.
The things that they believe or claim, to me, point to either ignorance or a payoff.
Revenue generation.
Well, that's a payoff, isn't it?
Yep, and also there's like that for sure is going on because there's unfair and consistent fines that are really big. Sometimes for stuff that's not that big of a deal, little consequences, not
right.
And now there's going to be this new lab. There's going to be regular, unscheduled inspections. So it's kind of concerning.
Which
most the smaller. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to interrupt you. I was just going to say, with these inspections, most people would think it's a good thing that they're unannounced and surprised, but they don't understand the ramifications of simple mistakes. And no other industry is penalized to this percentage of business that they do.
Yep,
tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands of simple mistakes.
The big fines, particularly around the smaller companies, are detrimental. They either have to compromise the consumer by raising prices, or they have to go out of business and not be there anymore at all.
I read an article that talked about this, and it said that no other industry does a fine dictate whether a company will be open the next day or not. Most industries, the fine is considered the cost of doing business, and the inspection and adheredness to the rules is much greater in most industries where they know that they could be inspected at any time, And we've all been to bars. They have a license on the wall that allows the police officer to walk in at any time to inspect their license. And that means that they can look around and see how old everybody is, make sure nobody's been overserved, make sure there's proper health,
There's something to be said for people drinking like that, and to have some kind of monitor about it.
Right.
On it.
And
This is cannabis, though, so you know
it makes no sense in the cannabis world. And why go after?
and maybe it's excessive in alcohol too, for all I know. I'm just saying, like, there are
It's not.
some consequences that are known, you know, to happen there.
In most alcohol things, you get 3 strikes before they even look at taking your license. I mean, that's ridiculous. And the fines are not that great as compared to what they're doing in cannabis. It's ridiculous. You know, why are we the bastard stepchild? Why are we treated as a high source of revenue when we're not those other big industries? You know, I just don't get it. I don't see, and it's not the weed people that are just doing this. Nobody's going to them and saying, you know, we think it'd be beneficial to the industry that you fine us $10,000 for making simple calculation mistakes or filing mistakes.
Well, how about just getting fined $10,000 for a third party that you're mandated to hire makes a mistake?
Right. I mean, it just makes no sense.
Other than somebody makes a bunch of money off of it.
Right. Well, again,
or the department gets, you know, generates a lot, and then the other departments
being paid
around
off
it
one
benefit.
way or another, aren't they?
Say it again, sorry.
They're getting paid one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, it's the gravy train is appreciated by enough people that it's not easy to stop necessarily sometimes. That's what I'm concerned about.
Dog catcher Farm said he's looking for a part-time job. I'll hire you. I just can't pay you, man.
I just saw a news posting that P. Diddy's been arrested.
What?
Yeah. Give me a second.
Uh-oh. Did he have weed on him?
I hope so.
The P fiddler.
Yeah. Say Medical Monday shit. What other weed stories you got, Adam?
Oh, I got a few. Give me a second. Let me grab my device.
Well, but what I was getting to too for a second ago is that the inability of the smaller stores to be able to handle a big fine,
right,
favors the big money interest that we're talking about now.
Definitely.
So
they can just keep on paying those fines.
Yeah.
That's fucking not only the cannabis industry, it's like the fucking just industry, period.
Why wouldn't our industry have it? Is my thought.
Yeah.
You know, but things seem to be better and not worse with the access to cannabis in all walks of life. We see that, you know, just a simple not going to prison. I mean, most people don't realize that at one time, simple possession would land you in prison or in some places.
Yeah, well, John passed 2 joints, sentenced ultimately to 10
and
years.
Now you can give up to 2.5 ounces away. I mean, so yes, I do have stories, which I got one about old people. 1 in 4 older Michiganders say they use pot, which kind of interesting. Since
what age group is that?
I can tell you what they're 50 years and older.
Yeah, the fastest growing demographic.
But it's interesting. I mean, this article, I'll read it to you. It mainly talks about pain and arthritis, and those type of things, that older people are being sold cannabis as an alternative to all these medications that they've had over the years. And the study they did at U of M did a national poll on health and aging, which surveyed Americans 50 years and older most recently focused on the use of cannabis products that contain psychoactive THC. And they pointed out that that was, of course, the big draw was the number. The article also.
Shout out to Mr. Free the Weed.
Mr.
That's here up in the comments. What up, though?
The big thing is creams, gummies, and their big thing among old people is wanting to sleep. One thing they did point out was that they claim, the government people claim, that their issue still is that these people have to end up using more and more and more to get the same desired effect. Well, if you understand how cannabis worked, you'd realize that in some ways that's actually true. Marijuana receptors fill up with cannabinoids, or cannabinoid receptors fill up with the cannabinoids. And if you took a 3-day break, your receptors would clear out.
Bounce back.
And they looked at this as addiction or dependency, which I thought was kind of funny because everybody who smokes pot knows that that's a tough one. Don't get me wrong. There are 10% of society is addicted to something. So if they all pick marijuana, that'd be one thing. But they get that number from when they do the study and they say, what did you start out using? And the guy says, oh, first thing I ever did was smoke weed. Well, no, you drink alcohol, really, but you don't consider that drugs.
Yeah, you're referring to the questionable 9% people get addicted to cannabis statistic, which isn't really substantiated
Or
that
cough
way.
syrup or fucking whippets.
Even the sad thing is, even fentanyl, there aren't enough fentanyl deaths to justify what they're doing. That's the sad part. It just doesn't.
You mean when it comes to fucking weed and how they keep on saying that weed's laced with fucking fentanyl? And even the fucking
fentanyl is a huge problem right now.
That fucking piece of shit. What's his name? What's Trump's fucking running mate?
Oh, JD Vance.
Yeah, Vance. Fucking shit his pants. Fucking whatever, man. That motherfucker was saying it in an interview not too long ago about a Colorado officer told him that they found a marijuana bag laced with fentanyl. And I looked up the story. Like, there isn't nothing.
No, and all because you see white flakes on your pot doesn't mean that it was laced with anything other than maybe THC. So,
and there are times when people have been busted and they've been like, all I had was some cannabis. Oh, it must have been laced with the other shit then.
Right.
That must be it. Yeah, it's all bullshit. It's an urban myth. We had these couple times on Jazz Cabbage a couple years ago. I had some people doing research on that, some sociologists and people who are involved in these things everyday basis, and they were all saying that it was a urban myth.
Right. I mean, I'm sorry.
It just doesn't make sense.
There are people that swear
combining the two, even if you were to do it.
Yeah, Rick used to say that all the time. Whenever we have this discussion.
All right, I'll be back in a second. Hold on.
It's a weird situation. So at EntheoFest, we're gonna just to help facilitate a moment to remember Rick Thompson and John Sinclair, both participants in that gathering over the years, and both inspirations for it. Obviously, neither one of them in favor of the big money interests that we're talking about that have caused a lot of the issues and attempts to advantage themselves because of their resources and their influence and stuff like that. And Rick would want to be associated with any of that stuff, but unfortunately, sometimes I hear about times in which, he is and his name is being presented, alongside of relationships with these other interests that, have, been the ones that have caused the issues as we're discussing here. And the idea that he would ever want to be any part of that is, just unfathomable, especially for anybody who knew him even just a little bit, listen to anything that he had to say about these things. But we're coming up on just about a year from the time that he passed away. And so we'll be doing some reflection about him and just remembering, a lot of his contribution to this. Obviously, I have a lot of personal connection to him too, but encouraging a lot of people to, have him in your thoughts. Remember how much he put into this whole effort, and remember his good name for what it was and what he did and what he stood for. He was very righteous and went through some pretty tough times, pretty lonely times of scrutiny from a lot of people around him from some of the stuff that he wanted to do and that he said, but he always did what he thought was right. And he didn't sell out. So the idea that he would be in connection helping people who have is not how he should be remembered. Obviously, he was on here for a long time, so people remember him from that, but he was all over the place. He did a lot of the cannabis media. He was like one of the main, like, solid, I don't know, he called himself a journalist sometimes, but he always put out information all the time.
What was his show? He did it with one of the
Oh, the 420 News?
Yeah, but then he would have
Mike
that
Brennan?
one. Huh? Yeah.
With Mike Brennan? Yeah. And we were talking about neither John nor Rick. I'll be bringing up at EntheoFest. Appreciated the big money interests that we've been discussing here for a while and what they've done and what their approach was. And they were both righteous about it and never really wavered.
Cabbage Patch. What can you talk about, Richard?
Cabbage Patch.
Wow. Yes, Cabbage Patch. I don't know.
He's the show other than Jazz Cabbage. So he means Jazz Cabbage when he says Cabbage Patch. But it was the 420 420 Post it was called.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But I remember he had what the fuck? What's his name from it's the couple that through the events.
Oh,
the Sparrows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's her face?
I remember him being out there. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Chelsea Curbside Coffee. What up, Bill? Rob One up in here. Is that so? Cabbage Patch is he's talking about jazz cabbage.
And Rick did talk about this and a lot of shit on there, but you were asking about that, and he went to he went to that show because he wanted to do the news that he started doing on Planet Green Trees, and while he was doing the news on Jazz Cabbage, like I would always give him some shit, or somebody would, and he just didn't want to be bothered at all by it, and he got pissed. And so he took his news segment to like another show, so he'd have a a place to do it.
Nah, I went there one time, and like the whole vibe was off for me. For me, I don't know. Everybody else seemed pretty in sync, but I was just like. I like being able to say whatever the fuck I want to say. And they were all like, oh, yeah, try not to curse. Da, 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 da. I'm like, bro, why'd you
Oh,
even
and they were
have a sign
broadcasting
here?
from the little studio thing, and
Yeah. We lit up a joint. They were like, oh, yeah, don't do that on camera. What? What? Whatever. Where was it? I don't know. I want to say it was some suburb. It was a big office building, though.
in Royal Oak.
Was it Royal Oak? I thought it was like more Farmington or something.
Oh, so no, that goes further back. I think the Southfield,
Southfield,
the terrestrial radio thing. Yeah. Yeah, that's pre. That was the twist up show or something. Yeah. Yeah, he was on like a regular radio station in Flint and somewhere else through that, like a terrestrial radio station somewhere else through that broadcast. Steve Green. No, there's two Steve Greens.
Yeah, Steve.
Not with Baby Bree, not with Maria and Baby Bree, etc., but another Steve Green.
Yeah.
And he had the magazine. He had the first like magazine.
Well, industry magazine.
Yeah, no, just ever.
Well, there have been other magazines.
What?
There have been other magazines.
I have a couple years of it at the store in Ann Arbor of his magazines, and they were like glossy and everything, and
so
people
what,
paid
it
like
was all
$5
about
for 'em.
Michigan.
All about cannabis, yeah, in Michigan, and went for like 2 or 3 years. They were rated at Big Daddy's. He ran out of an office at the Big Daddy's place in Oak Park.
Yeah,
they were rated.
What's that other guy's name that's had his shit? They used that picture of the ambiguously gay duo or whatever the fuck it was for you and Rick.
Oh yeah, it was in Ben's magazine.
and Warner's magazine. Marijuana.
Yeah, we were in there 3 or 4 times as those characters. He gave us a generous package though for those drawings.
I'm sorry that I think he did you guys justice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be filling that thing out like that in real life. I have to admit.
No.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Ben, wherever you are, for facilitating that extra. I'm sure you had it
Hey,
sent
dude,
back,
I heard that guy's
redrawn to
name
make
in
sure that it
so
reflected on
long.
your package.
Taking
He
it
did these
back
really mean
tonight.
videos too, like a few years ago.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, it was weird.
Chelsea said, "I'm sorry for the cartoons, though, Jamie."
Yeah. Chelsea. That's pretty funny.
Oh yeah, yeah. She was there at the
It
time.
was
That's
there,
right.
yeah. That's great. Sorry, Chelsea. They were awesome.
You know, I used to think like that they were kind of funny, but that he was just like was not my friend, so it was hard to like, it was obviously he was doing it to be mean or whatever. So
Right. No, listen, it was done. It was well
She
done.
said it wasn't her idea.
Of course. So it looks like P. Diddy was arrested amid a battery of sexual assault cases.
What?
Bunch of them, I guess, that they've been investigating about.
I haven't even heard anything about this. So they actually arrested him now. How long ago? It's been a while since they raided his home.
Yeah. It's like
They're taking their time.
right. It took a while for all those girls to get interviewed.
Girls. Diddy the Diddler. That's what I hear.
Yeah.
Props, say what the fuck. Everybody in here who didn't tell us what you're smoking on, let us know what you're smoking on. Cannabis for
Yeah, I will say that.
America Park.
Yeah.
Richard Clement's talking about
Free the
getting free
It
the
was
weed.
pretty much free at Tiger Stadium. I can tell you that. It flowed pretty freely there.
I mean, I've smoked
Sinclair and the
weed in the, where I go to smoke a cigarette. Let's go over there and smoke. That's what I really want to do in New York. That's the only reason why I don't want to go there now. Is wherever they're smoking a cigarette, I want to go and spark up a
basically
joint.
you can basically walk down the street smoking a cigarette, smoking a joint.
So yeah.
But you can't in any restaurants or anything. You can't in any city park. Banned all those.
Yeah, but still.
But you can walk down the street and smoke a joint. You can sit on
I
your
mean, I can do that I can do that shit in the hood, but
right.
Actually do it.
To do it in New York City in Times Square? Come on.
Yeah.
I used to hide.
No smoking at Comerica Park.
Right. There is in the smoking section.
Yeah, there's a smoking section.
Area.
Oh, they must have caught him smoking.
No, he was probably smoking in his seat.
He's like, I'm a patient. Here's my cop.
I know people that got caught at the Willie concert.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Willie, Bob Dylan,
and they were fucking with people smoking weed.
Yeah. And they had a Willie's Reserve tent out in the the walk areas of Pine Knob. I heard some pretty funny stories actually.
Busted by what? By who? By actual police or by security?
No, by in-house security who were told they couldn't smoke or were, basically given a hard time. I mean, the problem is the Oakland County Sheriff's Department's there. So they're working the parking lot. And I always wondered what kind of reconnaissance are they doing during the parking lot here before the show? And are they pulling people over or stopping people who they know were drinking earlier or smoking weed at their car? But yeah, I heard some people were busted by security smoking weed, told they put it out, which I think is funny because why the hell would they care? It's fine out. It's basically open air. But I would think that it puts their liquor license at risk, so they don't allow it.
Rich said tip the security guards with cannabis.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, you should be tipping your ushers anyway. That's how you got a good seat at Tiger Stadium, is you knew the usher. And he upgraded your seats. He knew what was happening in his section.
I got upgraded seats for not beating a guy's ass one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, security saw me like snatch him up and like fucking like just talk to him. I set him back down. And I talked to his friends and like he kept fucking with me. And I moved down everything, bro. And like security looked at me and Roach and they were like, hey, come here. And they sat, we were like fucking basically like 3 fucking rows away from the fucking stage. It was shit. But yeah, I got upgraded. It was at Pine Knob. Back when it was Pine Knob. What do they call it now?
Still, it's back to Pine Knob.
Oh, it's back to Pine Knob. Very awesome. Because I never called it anything else. What was it between that?
I forgot.
DTE.
DTE, right?
DTE, yeah.
Right.
Who the fuck called
Like
it
20
DTE?
years.
Who's it? I'm still trying to figure out what they're fucking calling Kobo now. What they call it, Kobo?
Huntington Place.
It's fucking Kobo, man.
I had. Hold on. Trying to remember what we were just talking about because I have a friend that. Fuck. Sorry.
At the Willie Nelson thing that got busted?
Yeah. No, my friends that are in the music business that have played Pine Knob, they've been doing it so long they still refer to it as the Shed, because that's
what?
The Shed, because that's all it is. It's a 3-sided shed with one of the 4-sided shed with one cutaway so you can see it, and
just hills
all around. And just recently, in the last 30 years, they've added onto it where they had dressing rooms and food room, kitchen, and all that, dining room, all that. But
never been backstage there.
Yeah.
Elect Richard Clement to the Detroit Public School Board 2024.
Richard's running for school board.
Dude, all right.
Everybody should vote for not only Richard, but if you want to get into politics, I recommend the school board, because in most communities, it takes the least amount of votes to get elected to the local school board. And once you get elected to the local school board, your name's in the mix for other ballot slots. So.
Last Piston game I seen was at the Palace. Damn, that's years ago.
Yeah,
I've been to a few Palace games, but I've been to a few Little Caesars.
Yeah, I haven't been to Little Caesars Arena yet.
I've been to one. I've been to 6 games. That's all.
Seen a few concerts there.
I wonder about these kids who have never seen the Silverdome.
I never went to the Silverdome.
Really?
The first fucking Lions game I ever went to was at Ford Field.
Wow. I worked in the Silverdome. I worked for the original Michigan Panthers team.
You know what? I think I've been there once with my fucking dad, my brother. We went up. They had some kind of fucking like huge ass fucking RV and boat and that shit out there. But that's the only time I ever been to the fucking Silverdome.
Wow.
Everything
The
else
second
I've been to the
football game I ever
Palace.
played there.
I used to see Pistons games there in a small little section that they curtained off.
They had
The
the
first-
record
the
for the
Palace.
most attendance for a
That's what I
basketball game
remember
because
was-
they
Yeah, there were so many people that could fit in that bitch.
yeah.
That was a hell
I
of
went to those. Used to be able to get Piston tickets when you bought like a 2-liter bottle of Coke or something like that. There's like two Piston tickets attached to it.
Once, I never got to go to see him at the Silverdome. First time I ever seen him was at the Palace. In real life, you know, as a Palace.
Oh yeah, we had my mother's boyfriend's brother was the in-house announcer.
Oh no way.
Yeah, and we
Do
had
you know Infamous? He used to
I know.
dance for the
He was a dancer.
Spare Tires. It was like
Yeah, the spare tires.
Yeah, it was
remember that.
all these bigger dudes fucking and they all danced and shit and performed at halftime.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's pretty funny.
Shout out to him.
Oh, he's a hell of a performer. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Richard Clemens says, fuck the Palace. I saw Beastie Boys and Tribe Called Quest at the Palace.
Yeah. A lot of people appreciate Pistons moving back to Detroit.
Yeah, they should. All those teams should be.
Definitely.
You use the name. You should be in the city, bro. Unless we own you, like we do the zoo. That's okay. You know, there's a smoking section at the zoo.
Is there?
Yep. Dedicated smoking section.
Yeah, right.
I kid you not. I believe it might even be on the zoo map.
Yeah, but you still can't fucking smoke
I
weed.
think the zoo still does it by appointment. They started it around the COVID time. I think you still have to make kind of an appointment and show up at certain times to go. To the zoo.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, my
what?
My wife was just there with the kid. Yeah, during COVID you had to make appointments, so they only had so many people park at one time.
What?
Yeah, they limited.
Yeah, right. That's crazy. Right when they start opening shit.
They
back
did it
up.
for a long time after. I mean, too.
That's well.
I just like the fact that now you can wear a mask in Detroit. See, because it was illegal to wear a mask in Detroit, and now you can wear a face.
Well, they're like making that shit illegal in a lot of southern states.
But
they're like
right, but it's been illegal in Detroit since like the 30s or 40s.
Yeah.
And it's directly to do with the Klan. It was in response to a Klan march. They outlawed being able to wear a mask, you know, hood over your head, all that.
That's why it was illegal in Detroit.
Yeah. And then, and they literally, I believe they wrote an exemption in for Halloween. But you could not wear a face mask in Detroit. Now you can walk around and beat Dan Gilbert at his own game because they can't use their facial recognition to see who.
Yeah, for a while, like fireworks were illegal in fucking Detroit.
Yeah.
You know why is that? Because fucking the first Belle Isle Bridge was burnt down by fireworks.
Fireworks? Didn't know that.
It was a wood bridge.
Right. I just actually saw a picture of it though recently.
Much greater chance of burning down being made of wood
Yeah.
than metal.
At least now we got treated wood and shit.
But that's how long That's how long the fucking ban on fireworks
Right.
in Detroit.
All kinds of cities have all kinds of crazy bans. New York City, tattoos were illegal forever.
What? I didn't know that.
Tattoo parlors, they were against the law. There'd be some underground parlors here and there,
Yeah.
but for the most part, I mean, everyone could get them, but you had to know where or somebody. But on the same token, 40 years ago, I know we could order weed on the phone and have a delivery, a guy on a bike, ride it to you anywhere in Manhattan.
In New York, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard about that too.
And you had to have an account number, and you had to pay your account off every month. And my buddy had a
What?
Oh yeah, my buddy had a 3-digit account number, and they knew how many. They knew. This was interesting. They knew how many times the company had been sold, because when they sell the company, they just add a number. So he had a 3-digit number. I think it was in the 600 or 700s, if I remember. 760 is what it was. When the guy sells the company, the next guy just adds another digit to the number. That's how they got up to 3. So it was a small circle that just got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
They had a nice little operation going on. I thought that was genius. Tigers won 7-6.
But the Lions did, and they win their game. They won and lost.
They lost on Sunday.
Sunday.
Dang. Yesterday they lost. Fuck the Lions.
Man, been alive long enough.
No. It's all good. It's all good. All right. Chelsea's like, the Lions lost. All right, we got that.
They did not win.
We won our first game though, didn't we?
Yeah.
Or was that preseason?
I still got them picked for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the Lions fucked up a lot during this game. They were in position to score a bunch of times and didn't do it.
9 times or something.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't watch
in the red area, the red zone they call
The red region.
the nether regions, yes. But good luck to the Lions.
Sure.
I mean, they don't got to win next year. If they win this year, I'll be happy.
Yeah, the Super Bowl's not too much to ask.
No. And I don't even have them to win the Super Bowl. I have them to make the Super Bowl.
But even if they make it to the Super Bowl, they might not even be here.
I know.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to be greedy with my money. I want them to win the Super Bowl. Don't get me wrong. I'd be disappointed if they didn't. If they made it to the Super Bowl. But it'd be nice.
I don't know shit about football. They're like, oh, the Rams. I really don't give a fuck, man.
About what? The Lions?
I mean, I don't give a shit. I mean, I've always been like a home team kind of guy. So
Right.
yeah, I would
Do you like football in general or no?
I mean, yeah, I wanted to play it, but I never got that parental slip. Sorry. Believe it or not, I was like a smaller guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Running back size?
I guess.
Football size.
Yeah, he's generally the littlest guy on the team, if not the kid.
But yeah, I didn't even get tryouts or anything. That was the only sport I didn't play. I played soccer, basketball, baseball.
I played Little League Baseball.
You too small, Bird. What are you talking about?
He was. He ain't small no more. He's rocking that dad bod.
Yeah, so we're talking about all kinds of shit on here. Fuck NFL. We're talking weed, people, weed.
The NFL allows players, I think, now to smoke. I think they changed that rule.
Campbell to the Super Bowl. Trade the weed.
Right.
What about Ford Field, man? Can you smoke weed in Ford Field?
Nope.
Rich. I don't think so.
Fire went up in Ford Field. That's what we should do. Big protest.
Don't they have the little side things where people can go smoke?
I don't know what they got to have, but that's got to be
outdoors. Yeah.
They can't have it in the stadium. It's not like the open air Comerica Park.
All right, yeah, you got to go, like outside, kind of.
Outside.
You know, I'd smoke a joint in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
remember
all those people smoking cigarettes.
Lots of people smoking joints too.
No, I bet.
Other people had the idea too.
For sure. Definitely. Before it was even legal. At Comerica Park.
Right.
Well,
it happened before it was
Tiger Stadium. Right?
Tiger Stadium, the bleacher creatures used to smoke. Sinclair didn't smoke there. Everybody. I went to games there. I saw Kiss there.
We went to Tigers games at Tiger Stadium.
Yeah.
What was it before Tiger Stadium? Like Briggs?
Navin Field. Briggs Stadium, and before that it was Navin Field.
Oh, all right.
And the Lions and Tigers played at Briggs.
Right.
Yeah. I remember that. Well, I mean, I remember it.
I never went to the Lions game there, but
Tigers. I remember they tried fucking doing like a little amusement park outside, like right on fucking Trumbull in Michigan. This was hilarious. But didn't help. Comerica Park's pretty nice.
it is. But Tiger Stadium was a classic stadium. Old school classic.
Shit, man, everybody in here, make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you haven't.
Richard Clement. I knew Len Barney really well. He knew me. Owned a bunch of McDonald's on the east side.
I just want to remind everybody this Sunday, September 22nd, the Fur Baby Get Back is going on. It's benefiting the Home Forever Rescue location to be announced. But if you know, you know. Come through, bring in all kinds of supplies, including bleed medication, disinfectant cleaner for urine, pee pads, paper towel, large milk bones, buttermilk bones. There's all kinds of stuff you can bring in. Bring in donations as well as cash, So this Sunday, everybody who comes in gets a raffle ticket to win awesome stuff by awesome people, including Native Made, Nug Abduction, Fuck Off Extracts, John Doe, your boy Nice, and the list goes on. Of course, Chi-Town's gonna be in the building on the hibachi. I'm gonna be there as well as Adam, right? You're gonna be there. Oh yeah, so come through 2 p.m., 7 p.m. this Sunday, September 22nd. Save the date, y'all. And give a huge shout out to all of our awesome sponsors. Shout out to Native Made 313, Michigan Turf Farms, Nug Abduction Extracts, Tiki Madman, SOB Labs, and Tree Street Packaging. So, here on Medical Mondays, we always want to stress the fact: go out and get your medical marijuana card. Who are some of the people you can holler at? Adam.
Oh, got up north, got Michael Thuy.
What?
Yeah.
I heard of that guy.
On the West Coast, we got hold on.
Pure West?
Pure West with Bomber. He'll take care of it. We got the Weedsters out there on the west side.
What?
And in Flint, we got WC3.
WC3?
No.
Never heard of that.
No, I fucked it up.
You mean GC3?
GC3. There we go. Sorry. And fuck. I got it too. Vehicle City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard of them too.
Yeah. There you go. I can't think of else at the moment. I'm lucky I got
Detroit certification.
Oh, right.
They're given.
I thought you said this.
Yeah,
Off with them.
man. Wow. Everybody holler.
Detroit Search Center.
That was smooth.
But yeah,
Tell them
hopefully next week, same time, same place, but hopefully my computer will be fixed. I'll get off this fucking laptop for good. So, thank you all for joining us for this Medical Mondays. And
Hey, can I say that just one more time? This is getting close to a year from the time that Rick passed last year, and just want to remind people to have him in your thoughts a little bit. Remember all the stuff he did, and remember what he stood for, what he would want to be associated with. Just keep that in mind a little bit. I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me come back on tonight, man, and hanging out with you guys. I appreciate it.
Sure. Appreciate you coming out. Yeah, everybody out there, and thanks to Adam for coming through too, man. It's
no problem.
Been a constant. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your Mondays, y'all.
Peace.